In recent years, indie games have taken over gaming scenes where AAA titles had previously dominated, with games like Journey, Inside Limbo, and Fez occasionally stealing the spotlight at Game of the Year awards. It's mostly thanks to social expectations and financial strains on AAA titles that this has become a more common occurrence for indies. As time progresses, players are expecting more from the AAA player experience, like top-notch graphics paired with huge digital play spaces, along with longer campaigns and higher replayability to make the premium price of $60 seem worth the cost. At the same time, AAA titles are also expected to please their investors by bringing in substantial profit from their games, meaning these games have to be bigger and cost more, and make more money. Indie games aren't bound to these sorts of expectations, as players don't expect as much from the genre and don't have to pay a premium price for it. And typically, investors don't have as much money on the line if they do invest in them. While the AAA market looks to be thriving, its model for game development is becoming increasingly unsustainable as development costs skyrocket, making it more difficult for companies to break even. What once was a $20 million game has now become a $200 million game. These cost differences tend to emerge from the overwhelming amounts of staff that AAA devs tend to employ, usually around 100 to 250. Meanwhile, indie games can range from having as little as one person to a group of 25 developers to make their games a reality. While the cost of producing premium-priced games rises, the consumer-priced games tend to stay around $60, so they're paying more but still bringing in the same amount of money. Pairing increasing costs with more money at stake if a game fails, AAA titles tend to stay on the safe side with most of their adventures, slowly moving away from single-player experience and heading towards multiplayer games and standardized player experiences to keep investors satisfied and ensure a niche consumer base will buy their game. With their lack of social expectations and more financial security, indie games are a game developer's playground. Because they function as independent studios, they have more freedom to experiment graphically, story-wise, and mechanically. This often leads smaller games to dominating the game space with new and innovative styles of gaming that outweigh the tired formulas of their big studio counterparts. By examining just a handful of games, it's obvious that there's a creative advantage to indie games. Undertale rewrote the script as far as player actions are concerned, popularizing the idea of pacifism within RPG games, as well as a game that's aware that it's a game. Beholder challenges the player's morals and resolve by placing characters in a position of power in a dystopian society, asking them to make difficult decisions about their neighbors, friends, and family. Stardew Valley is a really calm gameplay where players can basically do whatever they want, like run around with sardines and just have fun. Pinstripe offers interesting aesthetics and puzzles as players attempt to rescue their daughter from Mr. Pinstripe. And then Seasons After Fall is a puzzle platformer where players use the power of the seasons to save guardians by possessing the form of a fox. Within a handful of games, players can experience a wide range of stories, gameplay styles, and aesthetics that they otherwise wouldn't see in AAA titles. It's for this reason that indie games are dominating the games industry and could potentially even surpass AAA games.